Okay, so today, let's dive into this world that we don't often think about,
Yeah.
the maternal gut microbiome.
Oh,
That massive community of bacteria living in our digestive systems.
right.
But get this, during pregnancy,
Yeah.
this inner world like totally transforms. We've got this really cool research review here.
Yeah.
And basically, we're on a mission today to figure out like what shapes the maternal gut microbiome, how it changes over the course of pregnancy,
Mhm.
and what it all means for both mom and baby.
It's really interesting. We used to think of pregnancy as sort of a neutral time for the microbiome,
Oh,
but
interesting.
now we're realizing that it's really anything but.
Yeah.
Pregnancy really reshapes this whole world, and it's giving us a whole new way of thinking about maternal and infant health.
So, first big takeaway, pregnancy transforms the gut.
Yeah.
Obviously, our bodies change a lot, but this is like a whole other
Yeah.
level.
Right. And one of the really surprising findings is that by the third trimester, the gut microbiome actually begins to resemble what we see in like the disease-associated dysbiosis.
What?
Yeah, it's kind of like the body's intentionally shifting to this less balanced state.
Okay, so that honestly sounds a little alarming.
Yeah.
What are the implications of that?
Well, one theory is that low-grade inflammation in the intestinal mucosal surface, the lining of your gut,
Yeah.
that's where your body interacts with all those bacteria,
Right.
could be triggering these changes. It's like the body is prepping for the demands of late pregnancy
Okay.
and breastfeeding, but we definitely need more research to fully understand all the details.
Gotcha. So inflammation is part of the picture.
Yeah.
But there's also this other key player, right? Progesterone.
Mm.
It seems to have a really interesting relationship with a specific bacteria called bifidobacterium.
Yes. And what makes this increase in bifidobacterium so fascinating is that it's a really crucial bacteria for infants. Like, it actually helps them to break down those complex sugars in breast milk called HMOs.
So listeners, if you're planning to breastfeed, the abundance of bifidobacterium in your gut during pregnancy,
Right.
it's like your body is already prepping for your baby's healthy digestion.
Exactly.
Wow.
And it gets even more interesting when we consider the concept of this gut-to-gut transmission.
Oh, okay.
So this increase in bifidobacterium in moms may actually facilitate its transfer to infants.
Huh.
And that can potentially shape the development of the baby's own gut microbiome and
Oh.
immune system.
So wild to think that, what's happening in mom's gut during pregnancy can actually directly impact her baby's health.
Yeah,
It really highlights that connection.
it really does.
But I guess the question is, what shapes the maternal gut microbiome in the first place? It
Right.
sounds like a pretty complicated mix of factors.
Oh, it is. It is. Think of it like a puzzle
Okay.
with pieces coming from all these different parts of mom's life, even before pregnancy. Things like her BMI, any past diseases she's had, medication she's taken, even whether she's smoked in the past, can impact her gut microbiome during pregnancy. It's incredible how these things can linger.
That's crazy to think about, that choices we make years earlier,
Yeah.
could still be impacting us during this, critical time.
It is.
So you're telling me my college ramen noodle diet may still be with me now?
Well, let's just say our past choices can leave a mark on our gut.
Oh, no.
And then during pregnancy itself, mom's diet, weight gain, and even current smoking all directly affect
Yeah.
your gut balance. So it's just this constant back and forth between these internal and external forces.
Wow, so research suggests that environmental factors actually have a bigger influence than genetics when it comes to shaping our gut microbiome.
Absolutely. And then there's also the number of previous
Got
pregnancies,
it.
what we call parity. It seems
Ah.
that parity can speed up those changes.
Oh, wow.
So it's even more intricate.
So much to consider.
A lot to consider.
So we've established that a whole lot shapes the maternal gut microbiome, and it's constantly changing throughout pregnancy.
Yeah.
But I think the question on everyone's mind is, how do all of these changes connect to potential complications
Right.
during pregnancy?
Right. Yeah, that's the key question.
Yeah.
And research is pointing to a connection between these gut microbiome changes and gestational diabetes, or GDM,
Yeah.
and preeclampsia, two serious conditions that can develop during pregnancy.
Okay, let's start with GDM.
Okay.
What's the connection there?
Well, research has consistently found differences in the gut microbiota of women with GDM compared to women who have healthy pregnancies.
Okay.
But, science is rarely simple. There's still a lot of variability in the findings from study to study,
Okay.
probably due to just differences in research methods and the specific people who are being studied.
So it's not as easy as saying this one bacteria causes GDM.
Right.
But are there any like trends that researchers have noticed?
Yeah, there are some interesting ones. For example, for women with GDM,
Yeah.
those beneficial bacteria we mentioned, bifidobacterium and faecalibacterium,
Right.
tend to decrease,
Oh,
while bacteria associated with inflammation tend to increase.
interesting. So it's like a microbial seesaw?
It is, kind of.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But do these gut microbiome changes just disappear after a pregnancy?
Well, here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Studies have actually shown that these changes can persist for months after delivery.
Oh, wow.
Uh,
So it's like a longer lasting effect than we initially thought.
yeah, more long-lasting than we might think.
Okay. And what about preeclampsia? What have they found there?
It's similar to GDM. There's growing evidence that the gut microbiome composition is different in women with preeclampsia.
Okay.
And you're not going to believe this, but in some studies, using mice,
Yeah.
they actually transplanted the gut microbiome from women with preeclampsia
What?
into the mice.
Okay.
And guess what? The mice started to develop preeclampsia-like symptoms.
They did.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's what we call fecal microbiota transplantation, or FMT.
So they took like gut bacteria from humans and put it
Right.
in mice,
Yeah.
and the mice started to develop similar conditions.
Exactly. It's a really powerful way to understand the cause and effect,
Right.
between the gut microbiome and these conditions.
Wow.
It suggests that the microbiome isn't just along for the ride.
Yeah.
It could actually be playing an active role.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah, it really is.
This is all so fascinating. It really changes how we think about pregnancy
It really does.
and maternal health.
Totally changes it.
But we can't forget about the little one in all of this.
Right.
What does mom's gut microbiome mean for a developing baby?
This is where it gets really mind-blowing. Mom's gut microbiome may actually play a part in fetal brain development.
Wait, you're saying that the bacteria in mom's gut can
Yeah.
influence how her baby's brain is wired?
It seems that way. One mouse study found that the mother's gut microbiome actually promoted the growth of axons.
Wow.
Those are the connections between brain cells
Right.
in a part of the brain called the thalamus,
Okay.
which is super important for sensory processing.
So we're talking long-term effects on infant behavior and development here.
Exactly.
Wow.
Not just digestion and immunity.
That's huge.
This is huge.
And that's really just the beginning, right?
Just the beginning.
There's also evidence that the maternal gut microbiome could impact a baby's metabolism
Yeah.
through these like tiny chemical messengers called metabolites.
Yeah,
And some researchers even think there might be a connection to a lower risk of food allergies.
that's right.
It's incredible that these bacteria are so influential.
It is.
Okay, so we've covered the changes to the gut microbiome during pregnancy, the
Mhm.
factors that shape it, potential complications, and its effects on the baby.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest question is, can we do anything about it? Can we change the gut microbiome to improve things for both mom and baby?
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
And probiotics and prebiotics are what usually come to mind, right? Like
Yeah.
those supplements for gut health. They seem like a pretty straightforward way to try and, nudge things in a healthier direction.
So is it as easy as just taking a probiotic during pregnancy and calling it a day?
If only it were that easy.
Okay.
There's definitely potential there. But the research on probiotics during pregnancy is still a bit inconclusive. We need more research to fully understand all the benefits and risks.
So a healthy dose of caution is needed.
Absolutely.
Okay, what does the research say so far about how well probiotics actually work in this situation?
A recent Cochrane review that's a really thorough analysis of existing research actually urged caution when it comes to probiotics during pregnancy. The review found that the effect of probiotics on GDM is still pretty unclear.
Okay.
It's possible they might even increase the risk of preeclampsia, and they don't seem to have much of an impact on weight gain.
So even though they're promoted as a sort of cure-all,
Yeah.
it's not that clear-cut,
It's not.
especially during pregnancy.
Especially during pregnancy. And here's another interesting tidbit.
Okay.
Even in adults who aren't pregnant,
Yeah.
there's still debate about how effective probiotics are at, changing the gut microbiome for the better.
Huh.
It's a very complex area with a lot of nuances.
It sounds like there's still so much that we don't know.
There is.
But what about other ways to change the gut microbiome?
Yeah.
What does the future hold?
One really exciting area is personalized nutrition.
Okay.
Imagine, like, tailoring dietary recommendations based on an individual's unique gut microbiome.
Wow.
That could be a real game changer when it comes to managing conditions like GDM
Right.
and really optimizing the health of mom and baby.
That is a really cool idea,
Yeah,
using the power of food to shape the gut microbiome and improve outcomes.
it is.
But speaking of the baby's health, can we go back to that for a minute?
Yeah, sure.
We touched on how mom's gut microbiome can impact the baby,
Hmm.
but there are still so many questions that come to mind.
Absolutely, so many questions.
For example, we know that the way a baby is born,
Yeah,
vaginally or by C-section,
right.
can impact what bacteria they're exposed to early on.
Exactly.
So how does that impact the development of their gut microbiome?
It's a good question. Babies born vaginally come into contact with a lot of bacteria as they pass through the birth canal, right?
Yeah.
So could that actually give them a head start when it comes to building a healthy gut?
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
definitely evidence that it might.
Oh, wow.
And then there's breastfeeding. We talked about bifidobacterium being important for breaking down those sugars in breast milk.
Right.
But there's so much more to it than that. Like,
Yeah.
how do other components of breast milk influence a baby's gut microbiome?
Yeah, and what about babies who are formula fed?
Right.
Are there ways to help them develop a healthy gut microbiome too?
These are all excellent questions. And researchers are really working hard to find answers.
That's good.
The field of microbiome research is just, exploding right now. So
Yeah.
I have no doubt we're going to see some amazing breakthroughs in the years to come.
I love that, These deep dives are so cool because we're just like peeling back these layers of understanding about ourselves
I know.
and this crazy web of life that we're a part of.
We are?
I agree. It's a good reminder that we're not just individuals. We're like these walking ecosystems
Yeah.
interconnected with all these microorganisms.
All these microorganisms that are
who
crucial
are essential for our health.
to our well-being.
Okay, so we've covered a lot today. Changes to the gut microbiome during pregnancy,
Right.
its effects on the baby, and even the potential for changing it.
Yeah.
But before we wrap things up, I want to leave our listeners with something to ponder.
Okay. I'm listening.
So we've talked about how our environment and lifestyle can shape our gut microbiome.
Right.
But what about the reverse? Could our gut bacteria actually be influencing our behavior and decisions?
That is a really thought-provoking question.
Yeah.
There was some emerging research about this thing called the gut-brain axis.
Right.
This two-way communication pathway between your gut and your brain.
Yeah, exactly. Some studies have even suggested that our gut bacteria could be affecting things like our mood,
It's true.
how anxious we feel, and
Yeah.
even the foods we crave.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Still early days for this research, but it's a really exciting area to be exploring. Imagine a world where we could influence our gut microbiome,
Yeah.
not just to improve our physical health, but also our mental well-being.
Oh, that would be incredible.
Right. Talk about the ultimate mind-body connection.
Yeah.
And it all goes back to these, tiny but mighty microorganisms that live inside us.
It's a powerful reminder that the world inside us is just as vast and amazing as the world outside.
It really is.
We've learned so much today.
We have.
Every answer about the maternal gut microbiome just leads to more questions.
It does. It makes you wonder, what other secrets are hiding in this microbial world? What are we going to find next?
It makes me think about all the choices that we make.
Yeah.
What we eat, how we handle stress, the medications we take,
Right.
and how those choices could be impacting not just our own gut microbiome, but the gut microbiome of future generations,
Wow, that's a really profound thought. If we start thinking of our gut microbiome as something that we pass down,
Right.
it really highlights how important it is to take care of it.
Yeah.
Like tending to a garden that will benefit not only ourselves, but our children and grandchildren.
That's such a beautiful way to put it.
Thank you.
It really does remind us that we are all interconnected, from the tiniest bacteria
Right, yeah.
to the largest ecosystems.
I agree. It's been a great deep dive.
Yeah.
We've had a glimpse into this hidden world.
Yeah.
A world that is just so complex and influential, and we're just beginning to understand it.
And that's what's so exciting, right? There's still so much to learn and explore.
So much to discuss.
So many questions to answer. And as we unlock the secrets of this maternal gut microbiome, who knows what kind of incredible possibilities we'll find.
I can't wait to see what we find.
Me neither.
It's going to be exciting.
To everyone listening, thank you for joining us for this deep dive
Yeah, thanks.
into the world of the maternal gut microbiome. We hope you learned some cool stuff
I hope so too.
and that you're inspired to keep learning about this incredible world inside all of us. Until next time, keep learning and keep asking questions.
Yeah, absolutely.